Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to be going through some fascinating excerpts about Archangel Michael. Going beyond just the typical angel imagery,
Yeah.
really diving deep into his strength, his place in this, the celestial hierarchy, and really just this whole epic battle between good and evil that we see in a lot of these texts.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited to dive into this. One of the things that struck me right away in this text is just how much emphasis is put on Michael's might. He's not just an angel, right? He is specifically called the strongest, and he's also the only one that's designated as an archangel,
Yeah.
which is a title that carries some serious weight.
It definitely does. I've always been curious about that arch prefix. It's not just some arbitrary label, is it? Like, what does that actually signify about Michael's position and his level of authority?
Yeah, it really indicates a level of leadership and power
Yeah.
that really kind of sets him apart, right? So think about it this way. Like, if the angelic realm is this vast, organized structure, Michael's at the top, leading the charge, right?
Right.
So much like an army general commanding his troops.
Okay. Yeah.
And the text really drives this point home when it really dives into the meaning of his name, right? Who is like God.
Whoa, that's powerful. It's like this declaration of, his unwavering loyalty and his position as God's, representative. It makes you think about all the people named Michael throughout history and even today. Did they know they were like carrying this name of such a powerful figure?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It adds like another layer of meaning to that name. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's a connection to this figure who just like embodies strength, unwavering faith, and this just battle against the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, the text really highlights Michael's role in the Old Testament, particularly his connection to Israel.
Yeah, it portrays him as Israel's protector and prince. What I find really interesting is it's not just about like physical protection. Like the text really suggests like this much deeper level of guidance and leadership.
Exactly. Like imagine Michael as like a divine administrator, almost like God's prime minister, right?
Right.
Carrying out his plans and ensuring divine order, And take the example from Daniel 12.1, where Michael is called the great prince who protects God's people. That's not just a passive role. It suggests active involvement in the unfolding of God's plan.
Okay, yeah. That raises a question for me then, like against what does Michael protect Israel? Because the text mentions this mystery of iniquity and this rebellion of angels led by Lucifer. Can you unpack that a bit more for us?
Oh, yes. So this is where we really kind of delve into like the cosmic conflict, this battle between good and evil, which is so central to this text, right?
Yeah.
Mystery of iniquity is just such a fascinating term, right? Because it refers to this hidden or secret rebellion, this force that's kind of working against God's order, right? And at the heart of that rebellion is the fallen angel, Lucifer.
Almost like a cosmic detective story, right?
Yeah.
Trying to unravel this mystery of rebellion and Lucifer's fall. Like the text really suggests that it was driven by this pride and a desire to like usurp God. It pulls in some really vivid descriptions from Isaiah and Ezekiel to really depict this downfall.
Right, right. And it's such a classic tale of hubris, right?
Yeah.
Like you have this incredibly beautiful, powerful angel who's just consumed by his own ego, yearning for a power that just doesn't belong to him. And what's even more chilling is this idea that a third of the angels might have joined Lucifer in his rebellion, right? This isn't just, small mutiny. It's suggestive of this massive upheaval in the celestial realm.
Wow, yeah, it raises the stakes significantly. It like transforms this whole thing from like a minor squabble to like a full-blown cosmic war between good and evil. And so, if these powerful beings are engaged in this, constant struggle, like what are the implications for us down here on Earth? Do we even have a role to play in this, larger conflict?
That's the question that lies at the heart of our exploration today. So let's kind of shift gears now and see how this cosmic battle manifests in the New Testament, particularly in the story of Michael and the devil kind of clashing over Moses' body, as described in Jude 1.9. Picking up where we left off, this story of Michael confronting the devil over Moses' body. It's fascinating because you have these two incredibly powerful beings clashing, but there's a notable difference in their approach.
I'm curious about that. What specifically stands out to you about their interaction?
It's Michael's restraint that I find so remarkable. He could have easily unleashed his full might against the devil, but instead he says, "The Lord rebuke you." It's as if he's saying, "I'm not going to fight on your terms. My authority comes from a higher power."
Yeah, that's a powerful distinction. It suggests that Michael's strength isn't just brute force. It's rooted in his submission to God's will. He's not seeking personal glory or revenge. He's acting as a conduit of divine justice.
Exactly. And this brings us to an important concept that the text alludes to this idea that true power comes from alignment with divine will. It's a concept that resonates across so many spiritual traditions, the notion that when we act in accordance with a higher purpose, we tap into a strength that far surpasses our own limited human capabilities.
It resonates with me. Yeah, it's like the difference between trying to force something to happen versus surrendering to a larger flow, a sense of right timing and divine orchestration. But how does this concept of alignment with divine will play out on a cosmic scale? We were talking earlier about that massive rebellion with a third of the angels siding with Lucifer. It's hard to imagine that level of dissonance within the celestial realms.
It's certainly a mind-boggling concept, and it raises questions about the nature of free will, even among beings as seemingly perfect as angels. The text hints at Lucifer's motivation, focusing on his pride and desire to be like the Most High. But some interpretations suggest a different perspective.
Oh, that's interesting. What other perspectives are there on Lucifer's rebellion?
Some scholars argue that Lucifer's rebellion wasn't simply about personal ambition or ego. They suggest that he was perhaps challenging God's authority, perceiving injustice or flaws in the divine plan. It's a more nuanced and complex view of the conflict, one that raises profound questions about the nature of good and evil, obedience and dissent.
That adds a whole other layer to the story. It makes it less about a black and white battle between good and evil and more about a struggle to understand different perspectives and motivations, even within the divine realm.
Precisely. And it highlights the importance of seeking a deeper understanding, of going beyond the surface level narratives to grapple with the complexities of these ancient texts.
Makes you think, doesn't it, if even angels can have these profound disagreements, these struggles with obedience and authority, what does that say about the human experience? Are we inherently flawed, destined to repeat these patterns of rebellion and conflict?
That's a question that has puzzled philosophers and theologians for centuries. But amidst these weighty questions, the text offers a glimmer of hope, a counterpoint to the darkness of rebellion. It points to Michael, who embodies unwavering loyalty and strength in carrying out God's will.
He's like a beacon of light in the midst of this cosmic struggle. It's interesting to contrast his approach in Jude 1.9 with his role at Armageddon. In one instance, he shows restraint and appeals to God's authority. In the other, he's leading the heavenly army in this epic battle against evil. How do you reconcile those two seemingly different sides of Michael?
That's a great observation. It's tempting to see those two instances as contradictory, but I think they actually reveal a deeper consistency in Michael's character, whether he's showing restraint or engaging in full-blown warfare. His actions are always aligned with divine purpose. He's a warrior of light, but he's not driven by blind rage or a thirst for vengeance.
So it's not about the specific action, but the underlying motivation, the source from which the action arises. Makes me think about the concept of spiritual warfare in our own lives. We may not be battling demons on a cosmic scale, but we all face internal struggles, temptations, and moments where we have to choose between acting from a place of love or fear.
That's a powerful connection. This idea of spiritual warfare isn't just some abstract theological concept. It's something we experience every day. It's those moments when we're tempted to give in to anger or resentment, when we struggle to forgive ourselves or others, when we feel overwhelmed by negativity and doubt. Those are the battlefields where we truly put our faith into practice.
And the text seems to suggest that these internal battles are somehow mirrored in the cosmic realm. We talked about Daniel's prayer prompting Michael's intervention. Could there be a connection between our own inner struggles and the larger conflicts happening in the unseen realm?
That's a fascinating question, and one that many spiritual traditions explore. The idea is that we're not isolated individuals fighting these battles alone. We're part of a larger web of interconnectedness. And our choices, our intentions, even our thoughts can have a ripple effect in the unseen realm.
That's a powerful concept. If our inner battles are somehow reflected in the cosmic struggle between good and evil, it raises the stakes significantly. It's no longer just about our personal well-being. It's about contributing to a larger victory of light over darkness.
And that brings us to the crucial question. How do we actively participate in this cosmic struggle? How do we align ourselves with the forces of good and contribute to the triumphs of light over darkness?
That's what I'm eager to explore further. I have a feeling that the text will offer some guidance on how we can tap into our own inner strength and become warriors of light in our everyday lives. We've been talking about this idea of spiritual warfare and how our inner battles might be connected to this this larger cosmic conflict, right? It's a powerful concept. But I have to admit, it's also a bit daunting. Like if these unseen battles are raging all around us, how do we even begin to like participate? What does it even look like to be a warrior of light in our everyday lives?
Yeah, it's a question that I think a lot of us grapple with.
Yeah.
And the good news is that the text doesn't leave us hanging. It
Yeah.
offers some practical guidance and suggests that our greatest weapon in this spiritual warfare isn't the, physical sword or shield,
Right.
but something far more profound, prayer.
Prayer, that seems almost too simple. How can something as intangible as prayer possibly have an impact on these, cosmic battles?
Well, it might seem kind of counterintuitive, but
Yeah.
the text actually presents a pretty compelling argument for the power of prayer. Remember the story of Daniel?
Yeah.
His 3 weeks of just fervent prayer directly led to Michael intervening and assisting the angel Gabriel.
Right.
So it suggests a pretty direct link between human intention and angelic action.
That is an incredible example. It really reframes prayer as something way more active than I had previously imagined. It's not just about, passively asking for things. It's about like aligning our energy, our intentions with the forces of good in the universe.
Yeah, exactly. And the text goes even further. It suggests that prayer isn't just about, asking for divine intervention.
Right.
It's also about cultivating inner strength and aligning ourselves with God's will, right? It's about transforming our own hearts and minds so that
Right.
we become like more receptive to divine guidance.
Okay.
And more effective instruments for good in the world.
So it's not just about praying for things, it's about becoming more prayerful in our overall approach to life.
I think that's a really beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating an attitude of humility,
Yeah.
gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
and surrender to a higher purpose. It's about recognizing that we're not fighting these battles alone.
Mm-hmm.
We have access to this source of strength and wisdom that just far surpasses our own like limited human capabilities.
Yeah. It makes me think about Michael and his constant reliance on God's authority. He's so incredibly powerful, but he never acts independently. He's always seeking guidance, always deferring to a higher power.
That's such a crucial point.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that true strength isn't about ego or self-reliance.
Mm-hmm.
It's about recognizing our place in this larger order and surrendering to a wisdom that's greater than our own.
Okay. So if prayer is like one of our primary weapons in this spiritual warfare, what are some other like tools or practices that the text suggests?
Well, the text emphasizes the importance of cultivating virtues, right? Such as compassion, kindness, forgiveness, and love.
Yeah.
And these qualities might seem, soft or passive,
Right.
but they're actually like incredibly powerful forces for good in the world.
It's like the old saying, kill them with kindness. But in this context, it's not about like manipulating or controlling others. It's about like genuinely radiating love and compassion, even in the face of negativity or hostility.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that divine spark within every being
Yeah.
and choosing to respond from a place of love rather than, fear or judgment. It's about becoming a beacon of light in a world that often feels like shrouded in darkness.
That brings us back to that concept of inner transformation. It seems that the key to becoming a warrior of light isn't about mastering some, external techniques or strategies. It's about cultivating like these inner qualities that naturally radiate outward and influence the world around us.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that the greatest battles we face are often within ourselves.
Yeah.
The battles against fear and doubt and anger and resentment. And when we win those inner battles, we naturally become more aligned with the forces of good in the universe.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Archangel Michael, I'm left with this sense of awe and inspiration. We've explored his strength, his leadership, his role in this cosmic battle between good and evil. But what really resonates with me is that we're not just passive observers in this grand narrative. We're active participants, and our choices and our intentions and our inner transformations all have a profound impact on the world around us.
I think that's a really beautiful way to sum it up. We may not be battling demons on a cosmic scale.
Yeah.
but we each have our own unique role to play in this unfolding drama of life.
Yeah.
And the text offers us, guidance and encouragement,
Yeah.
reminding us that we have access to powerful tools and allies in this journey.
Right.
We can tap into the power of prayer,
Mm-hmm.
cultivate virtues such as love and compassion,
Right.
and choose to align ourselves with the forces of good in the universe.
It's a call to action, and an invitation to become warriors of light in our own, unique ways. And as we step out into the world, let's carry with us that image of Michael, strong, unwavering, and always guided by a higher purpose. And who knows what ripple effects our choices might create, what battles we might influence or what victories we might help to achieve. It's a thought-provoking and inspiring way to end our deep dive today. It's a humble